I guess we're ready to start. I wanted to just begin by saying I assume that most of you have a caduceus coil, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here listening today. But for those of you who are, have one and have used it, hopefully this is going to be an educational experience, not only in terms of how to use it, but also the best ways to use it. And I'm going to give you some information on source materials as well. So I guess we'll just, get going. First thing I want to do is to show, to dispel a couple of common questions that we've gotten already. I get this all the time, and when the new website is up, we're going to improve and expand the instructions and the information. But when you play frequencies through the coil, you do not hear it with your ears. Most of you may understand that by now, but I get that's probably the most commonly asked question that I get. And the answer is no, you're not going to hear it. But what I am going to show you later today, and this is one of the reasons I have Bill on with me, I think that we haven't pre-tested this, so we're going to have to find out. But I've been trying myself combining through my amplifier, having a traditional speaker hooked up to one channel and having the frequencies played through the caduceus coil on the other, through the other channel. So I can hear it as well as experience it through the coil. And I'm going to be very interested to see if that makes a significant difference in the life force energy that's created by the sounds. But as a general rule, you're in the absence of a speaker, like I'm going to show you later, you won't hear these frequencies, but most of you should be able to feel or sense them because they are much more powerful, as we'll see, played through the coil. So one of the things before we get started with testing that I wanted to do was to show everyone a couple of sources of information on solfeggio frequencies and sound healing in general. So if we can start there. For those of you who were on with us several weeks ago, Leon mentioned the work of Goldman, Jonathan Goldman. And so I wanted to show you his site. He's got several actually pages here that are relevant. The homepage here is it's called healingsounds.com. There's a lot of good information here. Also on his site, there are a number of free downloads for MP3s of solfeggio tones and frequencies and so forth. So I have not had a great deal of time to research this site, but I do know that there's a lot of great information here. And also linked up here, this is kind of what I'm hoping we can do with our website, is to have a healer directory as well. But there's a group that's linked here called the Sound Healers Association. And that link will also give you a list of healers and so forth. If any of you are interested in pursuing this further, you can go to the Sound Healers Association and you'll find a list of healers and so forth. So this is a really good place for research and free downloads on solfeggio frequencies. So the other place that I have also traditionally sent people to is a site called soundsofwonder.com. This is the website of G.W. Hardin, Hardin. Hardin has written several books on solfeggio frequencies and has been visited by entities from the angelic realm. But he has developed probably, from what at least I know, the most comprehensive information on solfeggio frequencies. These originally were only 7 tones that were passed down through Gregorian chants and so forth. But he has augmented that information, and we're going to use a little bit of it today in some of the examples. But if you go to his website, soundsofwonder.com, you'll see a tab here for solfeggio, and you can click on that, and you're going to find just a whole raft of information on solfeggio frequencies. We're not going to go through all of it here, but if you click on solfeggio, I'm going to show you specifically linked to what's called the Softgeo Matrix. We worked with these frequencies last year quite a bit on our Pyramid Quest live streams. But this top piece is called a Solfeggio Matrix. This is an expanded set of solfeggio frequencies that he has developed based upon what's called either base 9 or vortex mathematics. And we'll just touch on how you know a solfeggio frequency in a moment. He's also developed further down here what he calls gateway tones. And these are frequencies that can be used to kind of gain access to higher dimensions. So we're not going to go through a lot of this today, but I think to begin with, we should read down at the bottom here some of this, because it's basic information, like what makes a scale solfeggio. And he talks about how that works. But the most important factor for you to understand any solfeggio frequency, if you're familiar with the concepts of base 9 and reduction, are going to add up to either 3, 6, or 9 using the following technique. Let's start with 111. What you do with this technique is you add the sum of the digits together, and in that case, that frequency adds up to 3. If you take the next one, which is 1, 2, 3, you'll see that those add up to 6. And then if you take 1, 3, 5, you see that they add up to 9. And that continues throughout the sequence, 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 9. And for those of you who know anything about vortex mathematics, you know that the infinity loop that was developed in vortex mathematics, those points on the scale correspond to 3, 6, and 9. So that's an important aspect. The other thing that he talks about here are these gateway tones. And there's a lot of information here that we don't have time to go through. But for those of you who really want to pursue sound healing, I would suggest that you go to this site. There's plenty of articles on this site and a sister site of his, gwharden.com, as well as using Goldman's website as well, at least for starters. So that's some basic background information on tones and where to find some more information about that. So I'm going to shut this down now, and we'll go back to full screen mode. So what Bill and I are going to do today is to try to demonstrate ways to use the solfeggio frequencies, show you how they impact your life force energy, and using those in conjunction with the caduceus coil and how that expands the energy. So Bill, if you're more or less ready, I'll start by kind of reviewing in general what we're going to be testing. And after we're done with these tests, obviously, or if you have questions as we're proceeding, please feel free to pop in and ask your questions. We'll try to answer them. But what we generally do is to measure life force energy in a base case. So what Bill and I are going to do, I'll go out and he can get a reading of my life force energy outside of the pyramid. Then we're going to start to add various different things. We're going to start with a 528 solfeggio frequency and see just playing that off of my cell phone, for example, without a caduceus coil, what that does to my life force energy. I'll get in the pyramid first to get a base case, and then we'll add that. Then we're going to start playing it through the coils, adding speakers, changing tones, and so forth, so that you'll start to see how the caduceus coil enhances that ability. And then we're going to test to see if adding a speaker simultaneously has an impact on the life force energy generated as well. So with that said, Bill, I guess the first thing I'm going to do is to step outside the pyramid and ask Bill to get a base case for my life force energy. Are you there, Bill?
I'm here.
Okay.
$35,000.
Okay. And you all might want to write this down. I'm going to be writing it down as we go. And when I do put this together as a replay, we're going to make this into how to use the caduceus coil video so people can see how this works. But anyway, I'm going to be writing these down as we move forward. So my base case, again, 35,000. The next one we're going to do, I'm just going to ask Bill to test my life force energy inside the pyramid. There's no sounds, no caduceus coil at this point.
$10 million.
All right.
Did you hear me, Charlie?
I did. Thank you. Yeah. It's saying your bandwidth is a little low. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that, but I can see you fine, so don't worry about it. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to begin playing. For those of you who, whoops, I guess it'd be helpful if you could see me again, wouldn't it? Forgot to turn the thing back. For those of you who have read the instructions, I'm going to be using this 3-tone frequency tone generator that I suggest in the instruction book to set up these frequencies. And so what I'm going to do, we now have a base of me inside the pyramid at 10 million. I'm going to turn on a 528 frequency and just play it purely off of the cell phone. And so let me get that started here. That's actually playing off of the speaker, but that's okay. So this is playing through a speaker.
What frequency tone are you playing through the speaker?
This is 528.
528. Thank you.
Yep. Have you got a measurement, Bill? Can anyone hear Bill?
He's unmuted and I see him.
Let's,
Bill, can you hear us?
Bill?
Are you talking to me, Charlie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, your connection to, or my connection to you is not very good right now.
Yeah,
It says that
your bandwidth is low. Yeah.
Wi-Fi is red. So you're cutting in and out. So go ahead and ask your question again.
Well,
Bill,
I was,
can you? Oh,
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
I was playing a solfeggio frequency of 528, and I was asking you if to get an energy reading on that, but I don't know if you're able to pick it up. But I'm going to play it again.
Are you playing it now?
I am now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Oh, no.
Charlie,
Yeah,
100 million.
100 million. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. So you can see, for those of you who don't even have a caduceus coil, you can see what a significant impact that is having in and of itself. So I'm now going to, let me make sure I pull the right one here. Forget, this is, let's see. Okay, I'm going to disconnect the speaker. And I'm going to hook up the caduceus coil. Now you all won't hear this again because it's only playing through the caduceus coil, but I've just started it and we're going to test this in a couple of different ways. The coil is going to be, I'm going to place it down on the ground to begin with, on the floor underneath the chair to see what the reading is at that point.
Are you playing 528?
528. All of these are 528 right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me know when.
It's on.
Let me know when, Charlie.
It's on, Bill.
Go
It's
ahead,
on-
Bill.
It's
Okay.
on the floor.
And Peggy is saying she can't hear
500 and-
anything. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What was it, Bill?
500.
500 million?
500.
Okay.
Yes.
500 million.
I'm sorry, somebody was saying they couldn't hear anything?
Peggy was saying she couldn't hear anything, but
Yeah,
I
and
think
right
just to
now
reiterate,
you shouldn't be able to hear anything because it's
Right.
only coming through the caduceus coil. Okay. Now what we're doing, I'm trying to show everyone where's the best place to place this. So Bill, we just measured on the floor. I'm going to put this in my lap and hold it right now. So that, and now we'll see if that has a positive or what impact that has on the life force energy.
$700 million.
Okay, so it went up from from 500 to 700. So it's clearly better to hold it in your lap versus putting it on the floor. Now, what I've done, for those of you who can see, I have a little string that I have tied to the end of the coil, and I'm going to suspend the coil now at the very top of the pyramid.
Hey,
so that-
Charlie,
yes.
before you do that, can you hold it vertically and have him do a reading that way as well and see if that,
Oh, well, I guess we could. Yeah, all right. You mean like this?
yeah.
Okay, all right. Are you there, Bill?
I'm here. I'm just waiting for a question. It's,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I'm now holding it vertically. So test it with me holding it vertically. We did horizontally before.
1 billion.
1 billion. Okay. Interesting. So it's better to hold it vertically than it is to hold it horizontally.
Yeah.
Good thinking there, Lisa.
Yeah. That's how I usually hold it.
Okay. And then we'll put it up top. Give me a second here. I'll hoist this up. Okay, so this is now, go ahead, Bill. We've got it at the top of the pyramid.
Charlie, is
2
it
billion.
suspended? 2 billion.
2 billion. Okay.
Is it suspended from a string vertically from the top?
Yeah,
Okay.
suspended vertically. Let's see, I can try to show you how I just strung it up over my capstone and it's hanging. It's not perfectly in the center, but it clearly is better at the top. So I think I'll just go ahead and leave it there because that seems to be the best place to have it. So now this was probably the second most common question that I've received was where to put it. So I think we've established that hanging it at the top of the pyramid even beats holding it. So I would suggest that people maybe try to do what I did. All I did was there's a hole at the end for us to put the copper wire through. You can just take a piece of thread and tie a piece of thread around it like I did. Or of course, the other option would be putting it on top of your Apex amplifier. I don't have an amplifier here to see if it would be better horizontally up at the top versus vertically. So that, unfortunately, I can't really test that. I didn't think about that before we set this up, but we might have to do that for another day. You guys might also want to test that independently, the dowsers, and see what you come up with if you have an amplifier.
Yeah, so these are recommendations that we ask everybody to try for themselves. And
absolutely.
I know Clea here commented and said, I wonder if the increase of the energy is due to Charlie having held the coil longer at this point, which is a good point. But it has jumped so high. I really don't think that is the case. It could be a little bit, but I don't think it is. But that's a good idea she said to test it. A better way to test would be to start with each modality first and see if there's a difference. So we could test these every day. If you're a dowser, test your energy outside of the pyramid and then one modality that day. And then the next day, hang it at the peak and test it. That's a better way to do it.
Right.
But it definitely is a big increase, like we were dowsing today with Bill, hanging it from the peak. or holding onto it vertically, or laying it across the apex amplifier. You'll find that those are the most powerful ways to use the device.
Yeah. So next,
Tina has a question
Okay,
before
sure.
we proceed. She'd like to know if you're just clipping the roach clip to the end of both wires, and she'd like to see it up close.
we prefer alligator clamp to roach clip. Some people might connote that to something different, but anyway. Just kidding. But anyway,
I like that.
I'm sorry, I had that joke and so I missed the question.
Well, let me read it again. Can she see up close what it looks like? Does the clip clamp on to the end of both wires, and can she see it?
Well, let's see. Let me I'll pull this is easier probably. No, I knocked over my lights, but anyway, hold on. Come on. Can you see, is that showing you what you need to see?
It looks
Yep.
like it's clamped. Can
Yeah,
you
so
see
the
that, Dina?
Yep, so the two wires are twisted together and you just clamp that alligator clip on those
Yeah.
wires.
So let me get back together. I knocked myself out here. Here we go. Okay, well, let's see. Now I'm back. All right.
Alina wants to know if you could step outside of the pyramid and have your energy measured again, post-treatment control, she says.
Oh, sure. Be happy to. Speaking of which, that's a good segue. I believe, Allie, you'll know which week this is, but Sherry is coming back to fairly soon to do a session on how to keep your energy up after you're out of the pyramid. So this would be a good test.
We're looking at tentatively September 11th for that, but we don't have a confirmation. We're working on getting her booked. She
Okay.
was wonderful.
Okay. So here, okay, Bill. So they wanted to
32 grand,
How much?
32,000.
32. I'm down a little bit. Isn't that interesting? Okay. But basically, so it doesn't look like well, we'll check it again at the end, but it doesn't look like it's had much of an impact on raising my vibration outside the pyramid at this
Well,
point.
it has. You started at 10 million outside the pyramid, and
No, it's 35,000.
35,000. Yep. Okay. There we go.
So I'm not
Yep.
sure. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll check it again later. Okay. What I want to do next, we've been using the 528 frequency so far. And what I'm going to do at this point is to change it to from 528 to 432 and see if now up top, I was at 2 billion with the 528. So I'm going to switch it now to 432.
Charlie, your fan looks great, but you're far more handsome.
Thanks. Thank you. Well, the first part of that comment was true. I don't know about the second half, but anyway. All right, there we go. Thank you. I forgot to do that. Okay, Bill, we're ready.
So right now you're playing 432 just through the speaker
No, I'm playing it just through the coil.
on the floor,
5 billion.
or it's still hanging? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, it's still hanging from the top of the pyramid. This
Okay,
is only through
Can
the
you hear me,
coil,
Charlie?
and it's at
5
430.
billion.
Yeah, so we're at 5 billion. Now, interesting, that's higher than the 2 billion that we got at 528. So I don't know what to make of that, but it does show that different frequencies are going to have different impacts. And Lisa, you can talk to this probably better than me, but just because it's different for me in a positive way, it may not be for you. So you're just going to have to test this, but talk to that, Lisa, if you'd like, because I think all of this is highly subjective.
Yeah, I mean, it goes on the same, it's the same situation when I create individual pyramids for people. Everybody resonates at a different frequency, and when you come in contact with another frequency, if it's a higher one, it'll raise your vibration. If it's a lower one, yours might go down because you have to balance each other out. So you really have to play around with things and see how you feel. Really sit there, close your eyes, pay attention to your feelings, how your body feels. Just tune into yourself a lot more, and you're going to find out which frequencies are the most powerful for you. And we're just testing the Solfeggio frequencies, but there's many other frequencies as well. Charlie was just talking to me the other day saying he just increased the frequency by 1 or 2 tones. I can't remember which frequency it was, but
we're going to get to that.
Yeah, he instantly felt different because of it. So and it wasn't a good way.
That's right. And it had to do with getting outside of the Softgeo Matrix, so to speak. So
yeah.
All right. So now the next thing I want to do is to test this 432 frequency once I include the speaker as well. So this next one, we're going to have the caduceus coil and the speaker going at the same time.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
$7 billion.
7 billion. Okay. So that corresponds to, I'll turn the tone off so you can hear me better. That corresponds to what, I had intuitively felt that it did seem to having both the coil and the speaker going at the same time seems to make a difference. So it does seem to that's been validated. So that's really cool. And along those lines, I mean, for those of you who are thinking of, I start thinking about things like hypnosis and other programming, but intuitively, and Lisa, I haven't talked to you about this, but as I was getting ready this morning, I started to think, the coil is really communicating with the cellular DNA, and the tones, I believe, are focused more into our brain. So there's some way that the combination of those two seems to be more powerful, and it may be that we're entraining our cells and our brains or in some weird way together, but it seems to have some sort of a synergistic effect. So don't know.
Yeah. And I know you guys can't really hear it. When Charlie says he's playing through the speaker, he can actually hear it on his end, but it just briefly pops up for us to hear and then it goes away. So we really can't hear it. Yeah. So, but there is a frequency right now playing through his speaker and through the coil at the same time.
Yeah. Not now. I turned it off.
Yeah, but there was a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
This last test that he did, there was.
Can you hear that?
Now we can. Yeah. But then it disappeared.
Yeah. You should be able to hear it all the time. I just turned it off so Bill and I could discuss. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, I want to show you, and again, we haven't tested this before, but I used to want to be a classical musician, and concert A is now at 440, where historically it used to be 432. So what I thought we'd do next is to see if playing a frequency of 440, which is a non-solfeggio frequency, is going to be what impact it's going to have on my energy field. So just to remember, this time it's going to be the coil and the speaker together, but I'm going to be playing 440 rather than 432. So let me get that set up.
And as you get that set up, Deborah wonders how Bill is measuring your life force from a distance and from somebody else. How is that happening?
Bill? I know Bill's using, I believe, the Bovis life force chart as well.
Yeah.
Can you speak to how that's
Let me know
happening
when you're
through
ready.
time and space?
Bill, did you hear the question? People are wondering how you're measuring.
Using the Bovis life force chart.
Okay. So he's dowsing using the Bovis life force chart, and that's a chart we discussed in other episodes, and we shared where you could download it yourself. I actually have a copy of it here. I just downloaded it off the internet, and I have a little water drop on it, so don't mind that. But yeah, just download this chart and
She
and-
says she
oh
has,
my goodness.
she has the chart. She just wonders how someone else can do it from a different location. How is that possible? If you could speak to that.
Yeah, it's no different than doing distance healing for people. I mean, we can, as soon as you think about a person, you're tuning into their frequency, you're tuning into their energy, and that's what you're focusing on. He's holding Charlie's image and Charlie's name, you know, with an intent to read his energy as he's measuring this. So it's very simple to do. You just hold that thought and concentrate on what you want to read. It's just like when you're dowsing with L rods, you know, you focus on what you want to look for and you're going to read that energy. And then, you know, I think Bill's pretty, I don't know if Bill uses the pendulum to do it anymore, but most people, after they are able to read, they start out with a pendulum to read the chart, and then you just instantly will hear the numbers in your head. You don't even have to use the pendulum anymore. You'll just intuitively know what the numbers are.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So to get back to what we're going to do next, again, we're going to have the coil and the speaker going, but rather than playing the 432, which is a solfeggio frequency, we're going to take it up to what's now the standard concert A in our music for tuning, which is 440. So let me start that playing, and then Bill, if you can do a test on the energy.
Should I douse now?
Yes.
$2 billion.
2 billion. Okay.
Yeah, so
If you all heard, that's a huge decline. Going from a solfeggio frequency to a very close adjacent tone of which is a non-solfeggio frequency. So think what that has done. This was done, just a little background, this was done after World War II. My information is that the Nazis actually did research on this and determined that changing concert A from a solfeggio tone and essentially changing all of our harmonics from a bass 9 solfeggio kind of system is lowering our energy field substantially. So that's why playing solfeggio frequencies inside the pyramid, I think, is able to raise our vibration so high because the rest of our planet is using non-harmonic and non-solfeggio bass 9 frequencies. So
yeah, so basically
Wow.
the solfeggio scale is tuned to nature, And our body is supposed to be in tune with nature. And they had a sinister plan to lower our energy even more and keep us under their control by adjusting the frequencies of our music. So all the music that you listen to now through the radio, is usually 440 hertz.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. A lot of people are actually changing their music back to 432 hertz, and you can definitely feel the difference.
Right. Right.
Even just try listening to one of your favorite songs. You still feel the music, but it's so much more powerful if you just change that one song to the 432 hertz and listen to it. It's just so much more powerful, and you can definitely feel it.
Right. So
Dina wonders, when you're hooking the clip to the coil and you are getting the audio tone at the same time, how do you get both tones through the coil and through the speaker?
well, that's a good question. Let me show you the back end of the speaker, because one of the things that you probably need to appreciate is how this is all hooked up. If you can see the back of this, I don't know how well this looks, but most of your amplifiers will have two sets of output, one for a right speaker and one for a left. And with the connectors that we provide you, you can hook up, you'll put one of the speakers on the positive and one on the negative. And one of the things that we can also show you, this is a change from the way we had originally suggested that these be hooked up. We didn't go over it today, but it is something I want to tell you. We've changed our opinion on, originally I was having you hook up, if you were hooking up your caduceus coil, I was having you hook up only to the positive leads, one on the right and one on the left. And one of the things that I found out about 3 weeks ago, Bill was nice enough to do some research with me and an electrical engineer who makes even more powerful coils than the ones that I make, the caduceus coil. They're a lot more expensive, but he told me that it would be better to try an alternate to what I was using, which was based off of something I read on the internet. And so, we'll be, again, what I'm suggesting, if you're not using, or rather than using just the positive leads, which is the way I had it done before, put one of the leads into the positive and one on the negative. And you can use one side, like the left side, for your caduceus coil, and then do the same thing for the other speaker. Put one wire into the positive and one into the negative to run your speaker. So I hope that answers the question, but just put, again, just put the positive, put one wire into the positive end and one into the negative end for the speaker. And then on the other, for the coil, do the same thing, positive and negative. Does that answer the question?
Dina, is that good? You got it. Oh, let's see.
Okay.
Oh, she says, does that require an amplifier then?
Oh, yeah. If you're going to try to do both a speaker and a coil at the same time, you really won't be able to do that purely off of your cell phone, because you need something like an amplifier that's going to provide you with output for two different channels in order to do that. So
I think it was Dina or somebody mentioned earlier in the chat. I wonder if you could accomplish the same thing with a splitter for your phone. And I didn't realize there was a splitter for your phone, but that would work the same way, right? That would work the same way.
It should. I didn't know there was a splitter either. But yeah, if you could find a,
Mainly you're using one source to play the frequencies, and If you want to
Right.
hear them, the splitter would accomplish that. And if you
Splitter-
listen with headphones,
Yeah,
it's going to be more powerful as well, because you're going to eliminate all those outside sounds that bring you into the 3D world, that suck you back in. So if you use the headphones, it's going to work even better.
well, and along those lines, if there's I'm sorry, who brought that up? Because I'd like to have them discuss that online if they wouldn't mind. Because I have another thought on that, if there's a way to, if I can
You mean-
understand the splitter.
The splitter is a tiny little box that plugs into your phone, and then it
Yeah.
has two outlets. So you can plug speakers into one, and then I suppose you could plug your Caduceus coil connector into the other.
So are they both 3.5 millimeter? The splitter,
Yes.
will it accept two 3.5 millimeter plugs?
Yes.
Charlie, I have one right here. Can you see it?
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't know that existed. Now I'm going to take this even one step further.
Can you show that again?
Yes, please do.
Can you see it okay? It's
Yeah.
just a little
Oh.
box with a
Oh,
plug.
that's fantastic.
Oh, okay.
I have
Very
one for
nice.
the phone as well.
Yep. All right. Well, then,
Right?
if, Erica,
This one has,
if you could tell us where, I'll put that in my instructions going forward. If you can tell me kind of, where to get that and so forth.
I will look for it. I found it in my treasures of things I've had from
Oh,
long
that's
ago, but
fantastic. Because
I
here,
would still think an amplifier would still amplify it, correct?
it still would help, yes.
Yes.
But here's what I'm thinking about. I have something called a brain tap. I don't know if any of you have heard of these, but it's essentially a high-tech light and sound machine. And I was thinking about that the other day when we were on vacation last week in Berkeley Springs, and we went by a shop that had the brain tap, and I started thinking, gosh, I wonder if there was a way to connect that, but it has a 3.5 millimeter plug. You could use that, and then rather than just doing a speaker, you could listen to it in your headphones, and then you're getting the light sounds as well, or the light visualization. So that could be an amazing, or any of you with light and sound machines, this might be another adaptation. Thank you very much for that information, because I was thinking about that in the back of my mind.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah, very cool.
You could use.
Well, that
two
one I
devices
could, you got more questions?
Someone said that you could use two devices. You could use your phone with the Caduceus coil and have your iPad playing the tone.
Good, that's
too.
another way to do it. Sure.
Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah.
And then somebody wonders if the frequencies from the phone interfere with the solfeggio tones. If
I
you
would
could speak to that.
recommend anybody puts I have I can't even think right now, a tensor ring on the back of
Tensor
my
ring.
phone just
Oh,
to
yeah.
transform those negative energies. It actually makes your phone a positive energy generator. So if you have a tensor ring on the back of it, it's going to enhance your energy, your personal energy throughout the day when you have your phone in your hand or on your body. So it's going to do the same thing when you use it in combination with the Caduceus coil. So I'd recommend doing something like that.
Sure. Wow, cool.
And then I just wanted to touch real quick on my Caduceus coils. I have different ones on my site compared to Charlie's testing his coil, and he has the quartz sand. Do you have the quartz sand in the center of yours, Charlie, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
But
So
it's
I
not
have a couple-
ionized, no.
Well, I have a couple different ones as well. So I know some people always email me and they want to know the difference, and why mine are a little bit more, but it's because of the bionization process. It takes me a week to bionize the sand, and that infuses it with extra life force energy that it retains indefinitely. It never dissipates. And then I mix things like the Black Snake Caduceus coil that I sell. It has magnetite powder in it, shungite powder, and brass shavings, as well as the sand. And then the White Snake is a little bit it's a little bit different, but it's more powerful because I actually order white powder gold from a very reputable company, and white powdered gold actually is a superconductor of energy. So it would be neat to test out all the coils, have a bunch of different pyramids set up, and just have a coil in each one and test the frequencies on
Yeah.
that and how they're affecting just the energy of the pyramid before a body's in there.
That's right.
You
That's
know?
right. That would be cool. Well, maybe we need to do that here in a few weeks too.
Yeah, definitely. We need more than one person to do that because you can't really, be jumping up and down. And
That's
I
right.
think it's
Sure.
easier to do that together. But what else was I going to say? I'll think of it. I had something else to touch on, but
You can
Okay.
send me a white caduceus if you want.
Well, let's get back to some of the testing that I wanted to do. We've seen now that, for example, at 430, that there's an obvious difference between 432 and 440. What I want to try next, G.W. Harden, when Lisa and I were talking to him a lot last year, he recommended, and in fact, it's something we didn't read, but he had it in the notes that I showed you earlier, that playing two or more frequencies, solfeggio frequencies at the same time, his feeling was that it really amped up both the overtones and what are called the heterodynes. You got the more full spectrum of that. So what I want to do next is to play 3 sets of solfeggio frequencies. I don't know if we need to do, I've got a whole bunch of them here, but we're kind of running short on time. So I'm going to play 222, 333, and 444 at the same time. And then I'm going to let Bill check my life force against the standalone 432 of 7 billion. So let me get that hooked up here.
You're playing these tones, Charlie, through the caduceus coil and auditorially through the speaker.
Right, through the speaker
Okay.
and the coil. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so this is 222, 333, and 444 playing at the same time. So Bill, if you can get us an energy reading.
10 billion.
What was it, 10 billion?
10 billion.
Okay. All right. I'm going to turn. Okay, 10 billion was the number. So it did increase my life force energy by roughly 50% over just playing a single tone alone. So made a big difference. Now what the next thing I want to do is take those same 3 tones, and I'm going to modify just by one frequency the middle tone. So instead of playing 222, 333, 444, I'm going to play 222, 332, and 444. I feel a significant difference. I feel like a tightness in my chest when I do this, in my gut, my stomach, my abdomen. So I'll be interested to see what we get. But if you listen to it, you're gonna find that it's just sort of inharmonic. So let me start that up.
$2 billion.
Okay. So just changing one frequency from 333 to 332 cut the life force energy by, what was that? Well, it's 20% of what it was before. So that's a huge difference.
yeah, I felt a pain in my stomach as soon as you played that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you felt it as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I felt it was like a tightness in my stomach. So I'm going to play it again, and then I'm going to start it up. So everybody feel that for a moment. And I feel something in my gut. Now I'm going to change it from 332 to 333, which is what it should be. There we go. So I don't know if you guys can feel that, but
Yeah, there's definitely a change.
yeah.
And
Yeah. And
I actually felt a tightness in my chest, and I was like, why did this come on? I wasn't connecting the two things. And because you're the one listening to it, and I figure, I guess we can all feel it through you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when you changed it to 333, the tightness disappeared. Amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. It was an amazing experience.
And that's just
So, what prompted me to do that, and Lisa knows this, at one point, one of our board members was trying to put together a Solfeggio frequency app based on Hardin's work. And one of the things that he was concerned about was this very phenomenon that, if somebody was just playing around with frequencies, and Hardin confirmed this. He said you could have a frequency of 333 and it would be very positive, but 332 could be potentially very negative. And I think we've all just experienced that now. And so what it's telling me is that there is a kind of a geometry to harmonics, and that if we get outside of that range, it's harmful to our body and to our health. So by playing these frequencies inside and amplifying them, we should be entraining the energy field in our body, at least while we're inside the pyramid, or around it, to a more natural harmonic set of frequencies. So.
And that goes back to the sinister plan of them manipulating our music frequencies. It's only a few notes. It goes from 432 to 440 now, but you can see how powerful it was just by the difference in the one tone.
That's right.
So
that's right. So,
Charlie, what's the app that you're using where you can play 3 different frequencies?
It's called the Frequency Tone Generator. It may be called different things on different apps or different phones, but I'll let me see if I can. This is my significant other's phone, so I don't want to lose it. I'll show you the icon at the end of the show, if that's okay. Or let me see if I can find it on my phone. My phone is about dead from power issues, but let's see if you can see this. I don't know if you can or not. Probably not. You're not going to be able to. Hold on. Let's see. Maybe you can see. Can you see that icon at the top of my phone? It's kind of green with but it's
Not
called
really.
Frequency Tone Generator. It's in the instructions that I have for the Caduceus coil. So those of you at least who got it from me should have that. So, but anyway, it's a 3-tone generator, and you can try to search for it. But there are a couple of multi-tone ones out there. This one just seems to have, it does have 3, and seems to work great. The last thing I want to do, and then we'll open it up for questions, is I wanted to experiment with some of these gateway tones that Hardin talks about. I showed you this earlier. He has what's called a fractal tone in the same set of frequencies. And that fractal tone is supposed to be the kind of the next octave up, taking us into a higher dimension. And that in using the same set of frequencies that we've worked with before, we'll play that we're going to play 222 1011 and 1455. I'm not going to go into what those all are, but the 1011 is supposed to be a fractal tone that will, again, take us to higher dimensions. So we're just going to see what happens here. There's the 222. One oh one one. And 1455. So Bill, we're ready now if you can take a test.
Bill, you're muted. You'll have to unmute.
$5 billion.
5 billion? Okay.
I feel this frequency though, or let me see. I feel this frequency is going to create a buildup that you have to sit there and it's going to build the more you listen to it.
Well, should we sit and try it? That's a good question. I
Yeah,
don't know.
let's do that. Let's sit for a couple minutes with it and then measure it.
So while I'm sitting inside here gathering energy, anybody have any questions?
Well, now your tones are playing. Now I can hear your tones. And they're really loud.
I just
Are you able to-
moved the speaker up closer to the mic.
Oh, it's really loud though.
I'll turn it down.
So
I would turn it down a little more. It's still pretty loud.
Does anyone use this kind of treatment, should I say, as a for the regular meditation, like on a regular basis? I mean,
I can't hear. I got the tones.
Yeah, let's turn it down. Yeah. That's what somebody said. It sounds like the EBS, the emergency broadcast system.
It's a little higher frequency for one thing. So, and I don't, this may not be a fair comparison. That's right, because we're changing the frequency of the tones, significantly. So I don't know if that's going to tell us much what we did, but Bill, let me play them one more time and see if you get a different reading, and then we'll stop this one.
Okay, ready, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
$7 billion.
Okay. Well, Lisa was right. It is going up
Did you get that?
with time. So
But I think it would have went up even more. But when you played the tones, they came through really loud.
yeah,
And it was really like somebody said, it sounded like the emergency broadcast system. It wasn't a very pleasant tone, and it was
Right.
really focusing on your head. But as soon as you turned it down, I mean, you just felt a pulsing. At least I did. I felt a pulsing of energy throughout my body and can feel that buildup.
yeah. So probably something for more research here, but just
Yeah.
to recap because I think we've done enough for today, but we started at 35,000. I sat inside the pyramid alone. My energy went up to 10 million. When I played just the solfeggio tones with off the speaker, no coil, went up to 100 million. Then when we added the coil on the floor, it went up to 500 million. In my lap, it went to horizontally 700 million and vertically 1 billion. When we placed it at the top of the pyramid, it went up to 2 billion. So, you know, just to kind of digest all that, with no coil, with the tones, we were at 100 million. But when we played the tones through the coil and the speaker, or excuse me, just it went up to 2 billion. So that's a huge difference. That's how powerful the coil is in enhancing life force energy. And then finally, when we played rather than 528, we got to 432. It went up to 7 billion. And then when we played 3 solfeggio tones together, it went up to 10 billion. So, and finally, when we played a non-solfeggio frequency, 332 instead of 333 in that triad, the life force energy went down from 10 billion to 2 billion. So, you know, that's just kind of a demonstration of the power, you know, of these coils. As Lisa said, we could do more of this. We probably should test the different kinds of coils in a subsequent session and see, you know, what impact the differences in, you know, the interior, you know, the sand and the shungite, magnetite, all of those things may have on the energy fields of these as well going forward. But you know, I can't wait to you know, get some feedback from people. I hope those of you who are on here today who are dowsers will try to do some research on your own and see what kind of results you get as well. So anyway, I guess we should open it up now for any final questions that people may have. Happy to take them now.
I just wanted to tell you, I am waiting for my daughter to get back to school, and then I am going to be testing this while listening to light codes. I'm just wondering if that makes a difference, because, you know, they make a difference on their own. So I can only imagine it's going to be amplified, you know, with
That's
all
right.
of this.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. So, you know, definitely
I'll
try
definitely report back, and maybe you guys can do something with that as well, because I think you're definitely onto something here. I wanted to show you something. Is this the logo that you were looking at for the app?
No, but let me see if I can
Does
find
it have black around it? Because I found 2 black ones. So I just wanted to show them because people were asking.
Yeah,
There's this other one that's green. You said it's green. So thought I would.
that's not the one. I'm trying
Okay.
to think what I have.
I mean, there are several though, and they're all.
Oh yeah, well,
this
that's
is
what I
great.
mean. This one, there's no magic to this, but that one, this one I found has 3, and I'm, of course, see, now I'm using an iPhone that I'm not familiar with, and I don't know how to scroll back to here we go. I think if you can see this green, let me get it into the camera's view here. Right there, right behind my picture, it says, can you see that? This is the iPhone version of it anyway.
They look the same,
Do they?
Clea and Charlie. Clea, you're muted. If you could unmute.
Do they?
I'm
That's
so
okay.
sorry. I was saying
No,
yes.
that's
That's
okay.
the one. I
Yes,
think
that's the
it
one.
looks the same. Yeah. Sorry.
It does.
Okay, well, you know,
Gretchen.
on iPhones, it's called
Is that
sound
good?
generator. On Android, it's called something different. It's called bear with it, frequency tone generator. Anyway, I wouldn't get too hung up on frequency sound generator. Okay, on Android for some reason. So but I'm sure any of those would work. And then finally too, this finding out about this splitter is going to open up some new stuff for me as well. Because I've used this brain tap technology, and it seems to be pretty powerful. Now that I know how to possibly incorporate it as well, I might want to try that. So there's a whole bunch of things that we learned today that we can all try to apply. So okay.
Thank you. This is wonderful, the work you guys are doing. It's amazing. This is so 5D. That's what we need. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Bill, thank you very much for helping us out today. As always, you're great. And
Yeah, thanks so much, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
My pleasure.
okay.
Thank you.
Hey, I
All
just
right.
wanted to touch on the plant experiment real quick.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
please do.
Yeah, so I have 3 different plants. I don't know what they're called. They're like a tropical type plant. And so I have one that my control one is about 2 feet to the right of my pyramid on the floor. Then I have one that I placed underneath my chair inside on the floor in the center of the meditation pyramid. And then I have another one, the third one, sitting on the seat of my meditation pyramid. And I'm not going to have drastic results today, but they've only been in there for since Wednesday evening, so about 3 days. And the control one grew 5 millimeters on that time. The one on my chair inside the pyramid grew 5 millimeters, but the one underneath my meditation pyramid actually grew 9 millimeters. So that one seems to be growing the fastest, is the one underneath. So every time I water them, I always get a little shot glass, and I make sure they all have the same amount of water, and they all have the same amount of sunlight coming in my window. They're just in different positions. So right now it's the one that's underneath my meditation chair that's actually doing the best. And so I'm eager to see what everybody else experiences. And every Saturday I'm going to measure it and share these measurements with you guys. And, please do the same if you're doing the experiment as well, because I'm eager to see how everybody's experiment turns out too.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice.
Yep.
Thank
All right.
you.
Mary has her hand up, and Dina wondered where you could get the fractal frequency list.
That's on G.W. Hardin's Sounds of Wonder.
Sounds of Wonder, Dina.
.com. Here, I'll take everybody back to it again, because that's a good point. Let's just go back and can everybody see my screen here?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, go to soundsofwonder.com, and again, I'll show you how to get to them. But he's just, this is the home page, and you can click on Solfeggio diagrams, and then click on Solfeggio Matrix. It'll take it, you'll get there eventually, but you can just click on it quickly, and that takes you to the list of the Solfeggio Matrix, and then also these gateway tones. There is so much on this site about interdimensional tones and these gateway tones that we haven't had time to discuss. So, I'll leave it to you guys to if you're interested, to follow up on that. But that's
What does seed mean?
See, he has developed, this is where it gets, that's what I mean, it gets complicated.
Oh, okay. That's all
No,
right.
no, but
I
in
can look it
in
up.
short verse, we're all familiar with either 7 or 9 solfeggio tones. His angelic, visitations and his own, the inspiration from those, he's developed these. There's actually a methodology. You might say, well, how do I know which one of these I should use? There's actually a questionnaire that you can use to determine that. If you're a good dowser, you might actually douse and say which one of these seeds or that's what he calls them, is most effective for me. I mean, Lisa might be a 7-2 seed and I might be a 3 seed or whatever. So you may have to just, good dowsers or intuitives are able to automatically figure out which ones may be best suited for them. But there's a lot here that we don't have time to, go
Right.
today. And I don't know at all for sure.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where it is. So, all right. Are there any other questions?
Yes, I had a quick question. It sounds like there is a way to convert music into 432. Is that what you guys were referring to when I think Lisa was talking about to change your favorite song, try one song in the right frequency? Okay.
There are converters. I don't have one that I use right now, but there are converters. So I would just look for them on your phone, or I can look for you and find one. But if you find one, please share it with us next week.
I will. I'll look for it. That's a brilliant idea. So we can
That's
fix
awesome,
some of
too.
this. Thank you.
Yep.
One other thing, this is off topic a little bit, but if you'll bear with me, I'm going to show you some stuff I found or rediscovered yesterday after or when I was preparing for this. So just bear with me. This is a before and after from, are any of you familiar with Sherry Edwards' work? Anybody? If not, it's probably not worth doing, but Sherry.
Yes, awesome.
Okay, all right. Well, then let me I'll show you what I was on a show with her, with Richard Hoagland last year, and there is a before and after. I sent her a pyramid, and what she does is voice analysis. And I'm trying now, now that I'm telling you I can do this, I got to find it. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it quickly. If not, we'll do it another time.
What she does is voice reading. She reads the frequencies that are added or minused from your optimal health. And so if your frequencies are out of balance, she can give you the frequencies like a prescription to help you get balanced.
Yeah, and
she does it with
basically she had someone do their voice analysis beforehand and after. And of course, now I can't find it. All right, I'll have it for next week if people are interested. But anyway, what it does show is that there is a significant difference just from sitting under the pyramid for 20 minutes. They had somebody do that and then do the voice analysis, and it's pretty significant. So I thought I'd show you that.
And that was
Great.
Sherry Edwards.
Right,
Sherry
Shari.
Dr. Sherry Edwards. She's done some readings with Sarah Westall.
Yep.
And she does shows with her, and she'll do like the pulse of some politicians and celebrities and stuff and what their true intentions are. And it's really fabulous that she can see the underlying intentions.
All right,
Yeah,
I just found it. So if you're interested, I'll bring it up. Bear with me.
Yes, please. Very interesting.
Okay, all right. Let me get to it here. Can you see my screen? I hope.
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Sound healing. Before and after progress. There we go. I forgot what I had named it. But on the left, these are the readings. As you can see, you read a passage that for comparison purposes, and then they sat under the pyramid, and then they read the same passage again. For some reason, they put the before on the right and the after left, but the less distortion, the better. So you can see that on the left, these 5 different characteristics, or 6, whatever it is: aging, allergy, inflammation, mental, neurological, metabolic, musculoskeletal, nutrition, and toxicity. But this is on the left. These are after the pyramid, and the smaller, the better. So basically, everything improved just from sitting under the pyramid. And she didn't have a caduceus coil or any of that stuff. This was a while back. So
What's the red one, Charlie?
the red one is musculoskeletal. I'm sorry, the one second from the left.
No, the burgundy one, I guess it would be. It looks
Oh, that's
burgundy.
okay. I have color vision issues. That's musculoskeletal, third from the right.
Yeah, that one increased a lot. Well, I mean,
Or
decreased a lot.
It's supposed to decrease. Yeah, after is on the left.
Yep.
And smaller is better. It's kind of an interesting thing, but this measures distortion, I guess.
Well, what's the yellow one? Let me see
The
here.
yellow one is mental neurological. Now, interestingly
Ah.
enough, that goes up. So what I don't understand is, does that mean that my brain function has improved, or that there's greater activity under the pyramid? Clarity, coherence, maybe?
Probably went up, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it
that's
went
what
up.
that
It's
looks
the
like.
only one that did.
Right.
Yeah,
And you would think that that would happen anyway. Because, yeah.
yeah. So, but if you to read across from from left to right, the one on the left is aging. Aging has gone down. So, once again, proving that perhaps Galled's assertion that we're going to live longer is true. The next one is allergies. The next one is inflammation factors went down.
Nice.
Mental capacity, mental went up, but all the others, metabolic profile, musculoskeletal, nutrition, and toxicity all went down. So anyway.
Well, nutrition actually went up some, it looks.
Oh, nutrition probably
Yeah,
did. I'm sorry.
It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, it did.
Well, that's
did.
interesting because it makes things more bioavailable.
That's
So
right,
that makes
that's right.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we shall see. But
I wonder why the mental went up though.
It's increasing your neurological function. It's increasing the receptivity of
better,
the information. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's increasing your brain
That makes
capacity,
sense, yes.
Yeah.
Like the brain.
Mhm.
yeah. So anyway,
That's
I
really
just
interesting.
thought I'd throw that out there. So maybe for another day. But I was hoping Sherry, I could have gotten more information from her, but I know it was COVID time last year and she probably got busy doing other things, but at least I did get that from her, and shows even from hers that there's a significant change from the pyramid energy fields. So
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank
It
you,
is.
Charlie, for everything today.
my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you all
Bye.
for coming, and we'll see you next Wednesday, hopefully.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah,
If there are any
Thank
additional
you.
questions, just
Bye.
email me and we'll get you answers.
Okay.
Erica and Larry.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.